Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. The topic for today is Zero Trust Network Access, also known as ZTNA. In today's session, we will cover what is ZTNA, the problem ZTNA aims to solve, how ZTNA enforces security controls, how ZTNA enables secure access to application. Lastly, we will discuss the key differences between ZTNA and VPN. Let's start with what is ZTNA. ZTNA stands for Zero Trust Network Access, which ensures that both users and devices are properly verified and approved before allowing access to any application or resources. Secondly, in ZTNA, user location does not matter. User or device can be located anywhere inside or outside the office network. Or we can say they can connect to applications remotely when working from home or through corporate network when working from office without compromising security. ZTNA follows the principle of never trust, always verify, which means even if they are inside the organization network where device is trusted by default, still every access request is continuously verified based on the four main factors like user and device identity, whether allowed or not, ensuring that right person is accessing the application. Second is device security posture, in which it checks the security health of the device and ensure only compliant and secure devices connect to the application or resources. Next is least privileged access, in which it checks whether user is authorized to access application or not. Fourth factor is monitoring and dynamic access control, which means real-time monitoring and adjusting access based on the changes in the risk levels. It is continuously monitored and dynamically adapting the changes as well. In overall, we can say ZTNA in ZTNA, the access is granted only after multiple verifications and it is still limited to specific resources, reducing the risk of unauthorized access or lateral movement within the network. Next, let's discuss what is the problem that ZTNA is solving. In traditional network security, models operate on the principle of implicit trust, meaning that once a user or device gain access to a network, they are generally trusted and can move freely within it. This approach poses significant security risks, especially in modern IT environments where remote work and cloud applications and even hybrid infrastructures are very commonly used in daily routine. Let's discuss problems with implicit trust. The first is lateral movement, in which if an attacker compromises one device or user account, they can navigate through the network without being detected. Second is overly broad access. In this, users may have access to resources they don't need, increasing the attack surface. Third is lack of visibility. The traditional security tools often used to fail to detect unauthorized access within the network, compromising security. The fourth is remote work vulnerabilities. Implicit trust fails in distributed environments where users connect from various locations and devices. As we can see in our example, implicit trust is being used to grant server access to users where all the sensitive information is present. This approach only requires that the user's traffic originates from a trusted IP range, nothing more. This makes it easy for attacker to impersonate legitimate users and gain unauthorized access to sensitive data. It presents a significant security risk as no one wants their critical information getting exposed to malicious users. This is where ZTNA adds an extra layer of security. By eliminating traditional trust based methods, continuous implementation of authentication and verification to safeguard sensitive information. Next, let's learn how ZTNA enforces strict security controls. ZTNA enforces strict security controls by continuously verifying user identities, device posture, and contextual factors before granting access to applications and resources. Majorly, four security controls are enforced by ZTNA, which includes identity-based access, example authentication via SSO, MFA, and identity providers. Device posture checks. It ensures compliance with security policies before granting access. Micro-segmentation. It limits access to only authorized applications, reducing the attack surface. And the fourth is continuous monitoring, in which risk is evaluated in real time and adapts access accordingly. By implementing these controls, ZTNA significantly reduces security risks, mitigates insider threats, and prevent lateral movement within the network. In our example, identity-based access is evaluated first, where user was able to prove his identity through IDP. Secondly, device security check is performed, which we can see failed. Still, user device maintains an active connection with ZTNA cloud, but because posture check has failed, ZTNA will block the user access to the application. But it will still perform monitoring and generate the logs, explaining the reason why the access was blocked. And in our case, it will be security posture failure. Next, let's see how ZTNA allows access. Unlike traditional network-based security models, ZTNA follows a least privileged access approach with micro-segmentation, ensuring that users and devices only get access to the specific applications where they are authorized for, without exposing the entire network. In this example, as you can see, all the security controls were applied and the user was granted access to only specific application, reducing the attack surface. This explains the advantages of implementing ZTNA, which are vast, such as enhanced security, micro-segmentation, better user experience, reduced attack surface, granular access control, cloud and remote work friendly, simplifies IT management, and many more. Lastly, let's go over the key differences between ZTNA and VPN one by one. To differentiate, we will consider specific features and compare how ZTNA and VPN behave in each aspect. First is access scope, which means how the access is granted to the users. In ZTNA, access is granted on a per application basis, whereas VPN provides access to the entire network where the application is hosted, increasing the attack surface. ZTNA minimizes the risk by restricting access to only the specific application, thereby reducing the attack surface. So ZTNA is per application based, whereas VPN is full network based, which is less secure. Moving to the next one, which is security model, which means on which security model these technologies work. ZTNA operate on the core principle of zero trust, which follows the motto never trust, always verify. This means that every access request must pass through multiple layers of authentication, authorization, and continuous validation before granting access. ZTNA ensures strict identity verification, device posture check, and contextual security assessment to minimize risk. Whereas VPN relies on implicit trust, meaning that once a user connects to the network, they are often granted broad access to internal resources without ongoing verification. This approach increases security risks, as compromised credentials or unauthorized access can lead to lateral movement within the network, exposing sensitive data and application. Next, let's discuss risk of lateral movement. Lateral movement within a network poses significant security risks, as attackers can navigate across systems once initial access is gained. The key question here is which technology allows lateral movement and which one prevents it. As we have discussed, ZTNA operates on the principle of least privilege access, ensuring that users are granted access only to specific applications they are authorized for, rather than the entire network. This approach significantly reduces the attack surface and prevents unauthorized lateral movement within the network. On the other hand, VPN provides full network access, meaning that once a user is connected, they can potentially move laterally across the network, gaining access to all the resources they might not necessarily need or are authorized to. This broad access increases security risks, data breaches, and lateral attacks within the network. Next we have is device posture check. Device posture checks determine whether a device meets security compliance standards before granting them access. This ensures that only secure, trusted devices can connect to critical applications and resources. Now, ZTNA offers this capability, whereas VPN does not. ZTNA enforces strict device posture checks before granting access. It verifies multiple factors such as operating system version, security patches, endpoint protection status, and compliance with security policies. Only devices that meet these security requirements are allowed to connect, ensuring a higher level of security. Whereas VPN do not enforce device posture check. Once authorized, a device, regardless of its security posture, can access the entire network. This increases the risk of compromised or non-compliant devices gaining unauthorized access, posing a security threat. Then we have user authentication feature. User authentication is a critical security component that determines how access is granted to users. The difference in authentication methods between ZTNA and VPN significantly impacts security. ZTNA implements strong continuous verification based on the principle of never trust, always verify. It uses MFA, multi-factor authentication, adaptive authentication, and context-aware access policies to ensure that only authorized users can access specific applications. In this continuous authentication specifically means access is regularly verified throughout the session, which is again reducing the risk of compromised credentials being misused, because every time someone is trying to access, there is a continuous verification and authentication happening. On the other hand, we have VPNs, which rely on one-time authentication at the start of the session. Once a user successfully logs in, they are granted broad network access without further verification. This means that if an attacker compromises a user's credential, they can move laterally across the network without additional authentication challenges, increasing security risks. In the last, we have cloud and remote work ready feature. So which one is cloud and remote work ready, ZTNA or VPN? So with the shift towards cloud adoption and remote work, especially after COVID, organizations need secure access solutions that ensure seamless connectivity while maintaining strong security controls. Both ZTNA and VPN provide remote access, but they differ significantly in their approach and effectiveness in cloud and remote work environment. ZTNA provides secure, identity-based and application-specific access, reducing attack surface, improving user experience, and supporting cloud adoption. So we can say ZTNA is cloud and remote work ready. Whereas VPNs still use legacy environments, which are not optimized for cloud and introduces security and performance challenges in a remote work model. So we can say VPN is not cloud and remote work ready. So from overall discussion, we can say ZTNA and VPNs both enable remote access but differ fundamentally. ZTNA enforces least privilege per application access, which reduces attack surfaces and enhance performance. VPNs grant full network access, increasing risk and latency, while VPNs are traditional. ZTNA is the modern, secure and scalable choice for cloud-based environments. I strongly recommend adopting ZTNA over VPNs for a more secure and efficient remote access solution. So that was all. Thank you all for watching. Share your feedback in the comments so we can create more great content. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support us. See you in the next one.